Welcome, everyone. This is our special Power Thinking presentation. We're so happy that you are with us this morning, where I'm located. For others, it may be the afternoon or evening in different parts of the world. We thank you for being with us as we explore, as we talk about the things that are on your mind. What is on your mind? There's a lot of things going on, and every day there are things going on in our lives in various parts of the world, wherever we are in the world, and power thinking is here to be helpful, to help us to dialogue about it, to help us understand, to help us, most importantly, take action so that no matter what is going on, that we are in control. We're in control of our thinking. We're in charge of, are in control of our beliefs. We're in control of our actions as we all move forward to have as long and as fruitful a life as possible. I mean, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And so we're always excited to be with you. We typically are with you on Wednesdays from 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. Eastern time, and then again in the evenings, 9:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. So the question is, hey, what is on your mind? What's happening there? We've seen a lot. If you're on social media, if you're on the traditional media, you've seen videos. There have been short videos on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, on the news, and these videos have been taken by ordinary citizens. The news media was not there. Actually, many years ago, when we started the news channel, actually about 27 years ago, we actually put together a network in the cable industry that was focused on kind of being the CNN of the Philadelphia market. And we gave people the opportunity to film or tape, whatever is going on in the communities and turn it into us. Now, our regular news people weren't happy about it, but typically the regular news people didn't get out to a news story until after it happened, or a tragedy. But people, they could be very much right on the spot, and we were able to at least get that started. The problem was the technology wasn't ready. You had people with, the big camcorders that they would have on their shoulders, and you had to then, after you tape something, you had to find a way to get it to the news media. So you'd have to either send it or physically drive it or get it to the news station. Well, of course, everything is instant now because people are carrying phones, and those powerful microcomputers, ultra microcomputers that we hold in our hands, have the ability to tape and record whatever is going on, both from an audio and a visual standpoint, and then upload it instantly so that it is accessible all over the world. And so just yesterday, we went from an incident to, worldwide distribution of the video that was taken from multiple cameras, multiple camera angles. And there was immediate response from everyone. And so, certainly, we have that on our minds, and, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of the person who lost his life. And, these kinds of things happen. And through the power of what we have with media and with social media, we can actually distribute what is going on, and we can also respond because as these items are posted, folks are commenting, and you can read their perspectives, and there are different perspectives. So, feel free to offer your perspective if you'd like to put something in the comments. If you're on LinkedIn or on YouTube or X or Facebook or Twitch, feel free to provide your comments, your thoughts, what's on your mind about what's happening, particularly in the United States and socially, and actually what's happening around the world. I mean, it's not a day that goes by where we're not seeing something that's happening in the world that we're thinking about and we have opinions about. So we put this together very quickly. It was only about an hour and a half ago that I decided to do this, and so many folks who typically are used to me coming on Wednesdays, may not have even received the message yet, but that's okay because this is being recorded. We can put it up, and you can respond to it at any time. So it is a every day. There's something. There could be a mini adversity where we may have a disagreement with a significant other that's escalated into the point where we're not talking to each other, or with our child. I was just speaking with someone the other day, and we haven't talked in years, and this person talked about how I asked about children, and there's one child, but they haven't spoken in many years. But this is happening all over the world. And the question is why? Why would that happen when our lives are so short? Are there ways that we can resolve things that we haven't taken advantage of? And that's what we do with power thinking. We are empowering people to get past those obstacles, those mini adversities, the major adversities. We have major snowstorms that are unfolding, affecting tens of millions of people in various parts of the United States. There may be other weather challenges that wherever you are in the world, that you are experiencing as well, and that you have to get over. There are folks who, having health issues. We just heard news of some of my teammates. I played college basketball for the University of Pennsylvania, and we just got sad news yesterday that we lost the manager of our team, one of the most important team members, where he was responsible for making all the arrangements with travel, with food arrangements, with practice schedules, all going on, all behind the scenes, so that everything can go smoothly. And we wound up having a successful team that was number 20 in the country by the time we were done, and we finished, in the Sweet 16, what's called the Sweet 16 of a major college basketball event called March Madness. And so Tony Zabicki, rest in peace. A few weeks before, there was another member, a little younger than me, of the basketball community at the University of Pennsylvania, George May, who's not with us anymore. So you just never know when it's over for us. So while we are here, are there ways that we can improve the quality of life for our fellow human beings anywhere in the world? Or is this about, it's about, I got to get mine, and people who share, certain, commonalities, certain traits, certain beliefs that I have. That's all we care about right now. Is this the world we want to live in? Recognizing that when you think about the history of the world and how long this planet has been here, that we're only here, as the saying goes, for kind of a blink of an eye, just a few years, and then we're gone. And in some cases, some folks much less than others. And the other part about it is we never know. It's not like saying you're going to have 70 years on this earth, you're going to have 100 and you're going to have 40, so that we can manage that accordingly. Because if we, if we had a sense, we probably would be thinking differently about how we live the years that we are on the planet. So, what are your thoughts? Whether you write something in the comments or mention something on the phone, it doesn't matter because we put this together very, very quickly. There are many people who won't see the message until this is over in another, 45, 50 minutes or so. So, but I just felt compelled to go on the air and ask that question, what's on your mind? Because we have this endeavor. The company is called Power Thinking, of course, but the idea is to help us to think differently so that we can improve the quality of our own lives, number one, but also the quality of the lives of fellow human beings, not just citizens. Citizens, certainly, I'm in the United States, and so I can say my fellow citizens. But I'd like to look at this as fellow human beings because we should be concerned about human beings, about living creatures all over the world, and we can make a positive difference in our own lives. We can also make a great difference in the lives of other people. So, what are we doing on a day-to-day basis to do that? And what prompted this was yesterday, and I don't want to get into political views or stances on, um, what should be done, and from a law enforcement standpoint, what shouldn't be done. At the end of the day, someone lost their life, and it was in a tragic way, and um, it didn't have to happen. And we're seeing a lot of this, and these kinds of things are happening all over the world. How do we use our power? And you may think when we talk about power, we're talking about maybe getting some sticks and knives and bats and firearms. That's power. And unfortunately, there are too many people that think in terms of I have to get an upper hand by force. But can we be smarter about this so that we have a win-win, so that we win and the other human being wins as well? I learned that from actually, it was a set of tapes back in the old days. There were cassette tapes, and then now it's all digital. Something called the Secrets of Power Negotiating. And power negotiating isn't about like really cutting the legs off of the other person, but it was all about how can we create a situation where we win, but also the other person involved wins as well. Is that possible? And the reality is that, it is possible, and I've done it many times. So as we move forward on this planet, the question is, can we create a win-win, and not only for us, but for other people as well? Or is this about, I'm going to get it my way? This is what I believe, and the rest of you, who cares? You need to fall in line or disappear. So, what do you think? What's on your mind? And whether you put something in the comments or hit *6 on your phone, doesn't matter. I just want you to think about it. And as you think about it, what I want to do is I'm going to take you through a few slides and part of a presentation that I've made in different parts of the world, and for companies like Merck and their senior leaders in their learning and development space. also for Comcast and for Comcast University and the senior leaders at their training arm called Comcast University. For the Comcast sales department, we had 1,000 people who were selling cable, and we had something for them. We did something for Aflac, and we were doing work with Aflac and the new associates who had to give rejection all of the time. And we've done this work for AmeriHealth Caritas most recently. This is a healthcare company and health insurer for folks on Medicare and Medicaid, one of the largest in Pennsylvania, and they are in other states as well. So we were really happy about that, and that was well received. And it was, about again helping folks to seize and understand the power that we all have to make a better life for ourselves and for others around us. Did I miss a company? There are many companies. There was Riley Insurance, the current client. We did work for the Delaware Valley Association of Black Psychologists. I'm very proud of the work done there because these are folks who were healers, and they're focused on the Black community because of the challenges that are very different than other folks' challenges, and I can say that because I happen to be Black. And we actually did a continuing a class, a 3-hour course for continuing education credits for Black psychologists and the students. Many of them were from Morgan State University, and we had a glowing review. I was so happy about how well that was received, and that was just a couple of months ago. So some of the things that we've shared with all of these entities, with Merck and Comcast and Aflac, the Delaware Valley Association of Black Psychologists, with AmeriHealth Caritas, I'm going to share with you in the time that we have. So you're getting something that's exclusive. And by the way, not only did we, do this work with the companies that I mentioned, but we have, a significant membership base, and feel free to be a part of that. We have a mobile app. Check us out there. There on the upper left hand part of the screen, there is a QR code that you can scan, and you can join us, and you can reach out to me at any time right here on LinkedIn in direct messaging. You can email me at Stan, STAN, at powerthinkingcorp.com. So feel free to do that. So let's, I'm going to bring up this slide deck and share with you some of the concepts that we've shared, not only with companies here, but in different parts of the world, particularly in Asia, for the Japan Positive Psychology Association in Tokyo, and for folks in Beijing. We actually recorded this at a middle school outside of Beijing, China, and then for one of the largest cities that people never heard of, a little population with a metropolitan area at about 32 million people. So we're really happy that we've had those opportunities, and just kind of want to share with you what this is all about, what we do here with Power Thinking. So when I think about what prompted me to do this, I think about the inner strengths that we help people to build all around the world. These inner strengths, lead to people, being more resilient, that they can, as they strengthen these 7 areas, they can bounce back from any adversity faster. And certainly when you think about the things that happened kind of in a split second, that has prompted a lot of social unrest in the United States. Something that just happened yesterday, and then about a week before, where a person actually lost, uh, two people lost their lives. And there are others who've lost their lives in other situations as well. And what it gets down to on both sides of that issue is, how strong are these folks in terms of their ability to control emotions? Um, and we'll walk through some of those other strengths. But this emotion regulation is something that is totally missing from our, the language. Much of the language around the world is about power, about negativity, about dominating the other person, or quote unquote winning. When the fact of the matter is that we all can win. So when it comes to a point where it gets tough, it's a tough conversation, it's a tough interaction. Can both sides win? And both sides can win by emotion regulation. This is an evidence based strength that people globally can use to bounce back from any adversity. And of course, this is the ability to stay calm under pressure. The ability to stay calm under pressure. Think about that. You see in the picture, a gentleman surrounded by sharks. And uh, how calm are you going to be when you're surrounded by sharks? Well, most of us are not going to have that experience, but we do have experiences every day that can trigger one of five big negative emotions. And those emotions are anger, which is the belief that someone violated your rights. The belief, you believe somehow that this person is violating your rights. And I want you to think about something that has gone viral, gone global, and it's a clip, about a young man whose life was ended in part as a result of, low emotion regulation. There's a person holding up a smartphone and recording, and someone decided that they were going to grab the person, and then someone else, decided, they were going to grab throw the person down, spray, whatever spray, and really starting to, do bodily harm to this individual and restrain them. Think about emotion regulation there, and think about one of those five big negative emotions, which is anger, the belief that someone violated your rights. So here's a person that believed that they had the right to take this person down, restrain them. Okay, but then someone else had this belief that this person, they were violated because this person didn't follow instructions as they believed that they should have, and decided that they would end that person's life. So, was that necessary? And there's so many things that can be avoided, from a major issue like that to something relatively minor where, folks are in a relationship and they ultimately could decide to end a relationship maybe that may have had for years, decades, because of emotions. So, what are some of the other emotions that we are challenged to regulate? Second is guilt. And that's the belief that you violated someone else's rights. Then there's sadness, and that is loss, um, pure loss of a loved one, of a job, of some aspect of our health. Then there's embarrassment, which is the loss of standing in a group. Sadness is the loss of standing in a group. I'm sorry, embarrassment. We talked sadness, but embarrassment is the loss of standing in a group. You may have been in a job and was the president of a company, and you've had that job for 10 years, and you're leading a company and thousands of people. and then the board of directors, for whatever reason, decided that they needed to make a change. And now you don't have that job. And people have bragged about you. Hey, this is my neighbor, the CEO of this major company. And then when you go home, you're not that person anymore. You feel embarrassed. You may not even want to tell many people beyond your family. That's just one example of embarrassment. And then there's anxiety. This is the big one. And there are a number of people all over the world who are experiencing this feeling of anxiety. There are folks who are experiencing anxiety because of the weather. Are we going to have a situation where we lose power? And if we do lose power, how long is it going to be? Will I lose my cell phone power and not be able to communicate with anyone? What happens if all my food goes bad? But if it's in freezing temperatures, it won't go bad because we put it outside. How about heat? Anxiety. And how about with what's going on around the world? There are many folks in different parts of the world who are feeling a little anxious about the world, maybe about their own country and their ability to have a good life. But also given things that have been said through the lack of emotion regulation of leaders around the world, where folks can decide, that they're going to take some adverse action, with another country, and all of a sudden you have a situation again where people start to lose the thing that's most precious with us, and that's our own lives. So these are the five big negative emotions, and the question is, um, where are you with that? How do you rate? And by the way, I'll throw in this plug. We have a app, an app called the Power Thinking Corp app, available on an Apple Store and Google Play, and we can help you to help regulate those emotions, and thoughts, and beliefs, and we can actually give you the ability to do your own assessment. So where am I on my ability to create to control my emotions? So you can be either be above average, you can be average, or below average. Where are you? You can find that out immediately as I'm speaking. Before I'm done with this session, you can have a sense by going through our power thinking assessment on our app, and you'll have a feel for where you are in your emotion regulation. So related to emotion regulation, and it's something that I don't care where you are in the world, you are going to be either average, or above average, or below average in what's called your impulse control. And that is the ability not to say or do the first thing that comes to mind. The ability not to say or do the first thing that comes to mind. Think about that. How many situations, negative situations that happen in our lives could be avoided, totally avoided, through better impulse control. And impulse control is closely coupled with emotion regulation. Typically, if there is a negative emotion, particularly if there's a confrontation, like what we saw in the videos all over the world yesterday from the unfortunate loss of life, where a person uh, in one situation had maybe had a few people who were restraining the person in Minneapolis. And so they all had some degree of a lack of emotion regulation and handling that situation. And then there was one person in particular who was lower than others, had kind of much less ability to control impulses as well, to control the impulse to do something really drastic. And then once it's over, it's over. And then that split second, this person, number one, obviously was very angry, and then secondly, could not control the impulse to pull out a firearm and fire many shots at this individual. And this is what happens. But we have the power to improve our impulse control. So I'd love to hear what you think about that. And impulse control is something that, again, you can actually get a real-time assessment. You can do it, within the next 10 minutes. And you'll answer a few questions in the Power Thinking app. Under the Power Thinking assessment, you go to our menu page, and you will be able to get a sense for where you are in your ability not only to control your emotions, but also to control impulses. Just think about the world, if and where we would be in the world. How many lives could be saved? People talk about disease and how we can be proactive in mitigating or reducing the probability of having certain diseases have such severe effects that they can actually kill us. So we can do that. But far too few people understand the power of what happens with us mentally in terms of being able to control our emotions, being able to control our impulses, such that we minimize the negative actions that could lead to a lose-lose situation. So, we're kind of going a little further than what we typically do on our Wednesday calls, and I want to share with you some of the things that we share with executives of companies. And they pay thousands of dollars for this, but this is also what you get in the Power Thinking app. So there's impulse control as well. And so, what we need to make sure that you understand is that we do have a mental health crisis, not only in this country, but around the world. But few people understand this. Very few people understand that we are in a mental health crisis situation and have been for some time. You hear people talk about guns being the problem, and certainly there may be too many of these really high level guns that are used for war out there. But much deeper than that, there's some mental health challenges going on, and you hear about it when people are killed or they kill others, and obviously there's something that can be fixed from a mental standpoint. So I like to share this chart that 90% of the public, and I think we're talking in the United States today, 90% of people think that there is a mental health crisis in the United States. And I would venture to say that that would be pretty close if you were going to various parts of the world, for most of the world, that there are some mental challenges that need to be taken care of. But in the United States, 9 out of 10 people agree that there's a mental health crisis. Also, 1 out of 3 adults report that they have felt anxious, either always or often in the past year. And anxiety is this fear of a future threat. Anxiety is a fear of a future threat. So 1/3 of adults report that they have felt anxious, either always or often in the past year. That's far too many. And 1/3, 1 out of 3 respondents could not get the mental health services that they needed. There are not enough professionals out there, whether they're social workers, whether there are psychotherapists, psychologists, psychiatrist. That's why I'm really proud that we were able to uh, be welcomed by psychologists and conduct a three continuing education credit course for them that we really received high marks from. So it tells me that we're doing some things with the masses that the psychology community and the professionals really like. So if there are not enough therapists and psychologists out there, then how do we handle this problem? How for the 1 out of 3 people that have these that believe that they can't get the mental health help. So we have the solution right here with what we do with power thinking. The goal here was not to to promote it, but I think if we're going to talk about there being issues out there, folks with low emotion regulation, low impulse control, and those are two of the top strengths that resilient people have. Um, then I think it's also important to share with you the what we believe is a solution for that. Let's move to another slide. As I mentioned to you, we did this work on a couple of occasions. I was invited to Tokyo, one of the largest cities in the world for one of the most significant economies in the world, and that's the economy of Japan. And so we were dealing with people who were focused on the mind in Japan, the Japan Positive Psychology Association. And I was fortunate enough to go there and do a 2 day course, all day, Saturday and all day Sunday, for a group of um, CEOs and um, these are folks who are executive directors of nonprofits. And so we're really proud of the fact that we were able to do that. We were also invited to China. And, uh, and by the way, these are the folks who are in Japan. These are folks in Tokyo who are leaders and folks who are running organizations in China, in Tokyo, in this case, in Tokyo, Japan. And we did a 2 day workshop. And in our first day, when we did our introductions, and these introductions took a couple of hours. And the reason is because we asked the folks in the room to share one of their most crushing adversities. And they did that. I first started with mine and shared a very crushing adversity, one of them that I've had. We've all had them, folks. And what we found is that, as people went on, they were very candid about the adversities that they suffered and have been, suffering um, for those that have had ongoing adversities. And so, what you can't take for granted is that, well, you may have some challenges or you just can't assume that you may have challenges, but other people don't. I don't care where folks are in the world. They have obstacles and they have challenges. And some of them are bigger than the challenges that we think are very big. And yet they find a way to get through them. I was also invited to China, as I mentioned. This is a person introducing me in Chongqing for an event that was held there. It was for a group of 200 parents, 200 parents in a middle school that had 800 kids. So, 1 out of 4 of those parents showed up and actually took a Friday afternoon off and spent 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. with us, my partner and I, who invited me out and made the arrangements. And this is we did some work in Beijing, China, which many of folks have heard of, Beijing, of course. But you may not have heard of Chongqing. And Chongqing is in southwest China and near a mountainous region. and they have 32 million people in that metropolitan area. You look up Chongqing, China, it's one of the biggest metropolitan areas that most folks in the world have never heard of. But an amazing place with amazing people. And this is me with a group. We had a session on a Saturday. And as you can see in the first row, we had, young people, maybe 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds. It's amazing, mixed in with their parents and grandparents. So you had 3 generations there. And we were talking about the things that we talk about with power thinking. And they were there on a Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And what was amazing was that the young people were extremely, extremely focused throughout the course of the day. As we talked about that emotion regulation, impulse control, and in China, as in Japan, they're a problem, and as in the United States and different parts of the world, there are problems with suicide, and so young people had tremendous amount of pressure put on them to succeed, but not just succeed. I mean, if it was uh, entertainment, for example, singing or being an actor, that was frowned upon. So there was tremendous pressure to stay away from those endeavors, even though a young person may say, that's what I really want to do. That's what I'm passionate about. They were forced to excel in science, let's say to be a researcher or a scientist, to be a doctor, to be a business owner, to be a lawyer, and there were no other alternatives. And so in that session, there's a teenager there in that picture. I'll never forget. He stood up near the back of the room and was very candid about the pressure that they were under by their parents to read a certain number of books and so forth. And it was interesting that the parent got up, the mom, right after a teenager sat down and complained about how our teenagers not reading enough books and so forth. So we may think that wherever we are in the world that we have our challenges, but there's challenges all over the world, and everyone needs what we are doing. There's a mental health challenge all over the world. So we had someone looks like on YouTube at Riley 19103. Hi, Mr. Green. Good to see you on a Sunday. Enjoying the presentation. Thank you very much, Riley. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this is my first time doing something like this ever. And we've been doing our Wednesday calls for power thinking for now going on 8 years, when we decided to move away from just throwing out there a 6-hour course, but having these sessions every week where we help to reinforce these inner strengths and skills so that people can get themselves in a better position mentally. So that's our experience in China, and in Japan. There are 4 other strengths of resilience. I focused on emotion regulation and impulse control because I feel that based on some of the events recently, not only in Minneapolis where a person lost their life, another person lost their life, but in other parts of the world in other countries where people were feeling anxious and leaders were feeling anxious, and they felt that they had to take action because of things that have been said, things that have been done, or things that have been said about what may be done in the future. Emotions have been tried, have been frayed, and if folks out of impulse were saying and doing things that could lead to escalation. And so around the world, we're seeing almost in real time, the importance of our mental health, our mental well-being, our ability to exhibit the kind of strengths that not only can help us to bounce back from adversities, but can also help us to create a win-win for other people. When we're in a state of calm, when our emotions are not to the point where there's excessive anxiety and anger and embarrassment and causing embarrassment, we can be in a better place and we can do more for people than we can when we're in a negative emotional state or when we're impulsive, on the heels of that negative emotion, and we do something that we may regret for the rest of our lives. And certainly, as I'm speaking and I'm doing this session live on a Sunday, um, then there are a lot of people who are concerned about what has happened in the United States last night, where a person lost their life as a result of poor emotion regulation, poor impulse control, poor empathy. That's another strength of resilience, and that is our empathy, the ability to understand another person's experiences and emotions. And how about our self efficacy? And that is the belief that we have control over our ability to succeed. And we want to put these forth now. That's our fourth inner strength of the seven strengths of power thinking resilience. The fifth is optimism. And that's a challenging one because when things go bad, we have a tendency to focus on what is going bad as opposed to how we can fix a situation or a problem. Having that optimism that no matter what's going on and how bad we may feel about it, that ultimately we can get to a successful outcome. How about that? How about if we talk about how we can improve the lives of people all around the world, recognizing that, those folks, us, each one of us, are only here for a short period of time. How can we ensure that every day that we can have people, controlling their emotions, controlling any negative impulses, having respect and empathy for a fellow human being? How about helping other human beings to believe in themselves, to focus on how they can uh, accomplish the things that they ultimately want to accomplish in life? And how about helping people to be optimistic? Don't worry, we're going to figure this out. It's going to be fine. We're going to have a successful outcome. And then how about our causal analysis? As opposed to focusing on the problem in this particular fix, what are other ways that we can fix it? What is the root cause of what's going on? Let's drill down, and as opposed to operating on a surface and blaming, this set of people who have this set of beliefs versus folks who have that set of beliefs. Let's get the world focused on drilling down to the cause of the challenges that folks are experiencing around the world. It's causal analysis. And with that, I'll give you a clue. We ask the five whys. So, why are folks reacting this way? Why are we doing this? And why did that happen? And you drill down until you get to the root cause. And so, how can you drill down and fix the problem in a win win fashion? That takes some work. The easier thing to do is to say, hey, we got the power. We can do whatever we want to do, and we're going to do it this way. So go along with it or perish. And then reaching out is our last of the inner strengths of resilience. And by the way, you can measure these. You can go to our app it is a 30-day free trial. And I hate to be promoting, it sounds like I'm promoting, but this is about helping you. We have a vehicle that can help. And there's a little investment, actually. We'll give you a 30-day free trial. Uh, but you'll put in your card information, and then maybe there'll be an investment after 30 days of just $20 a month. We'll even help you to find ways that you can recover that $20. You can do that just on your utilities. And I've done it where I've saved hundreds of dollars a month, and then we can invest the 20 a month on power thinking. And then we give you an opportunity to make money with power thinking as you're helping yourself and helping other people. So we believe in that win-win-win. So the last of the 7 inner strengths is actually reaching out. And that's taking action to connect with other people, even people that don't share the beliefs that you share. But let's connect and let's talk about things. Let's talk about what's on our mind. Let's find out and spend more time listening to others and what's on their minds. Uh, Reaching out is one of the best ways and fastest ways to get over a negative situation, to get over an obstacle, to get over a setback. So we want you thinking in terms of when faced with that setback, when feeling that negative emotion, let's reach out. Let's connect with other people and take positive action, not negative action. But let's find ways to take positive actions to solve a situation or a problem. So those are the inner strengths. And as I'm speaking to you, you can actually go to the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, download Power Thinking Corp, the Power Thinking Corp, Power Thinking CORP, after Power Thinking, like CORP Corp, and you'll see this P that's in the upper right hand corner. Or you can go on the left side of the screen in upper left, and you can scan the QR code and install the app. You'll put in card information. You won't be charged for 30 days. And I want you to take the Power Thinking assessment. You'll see a home screen once you're done. It says helping you to improve your resilience in tough times. You'll see this recording because I'm going to place it there immediately after we are done in another couple of minutes. And you'll up in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, you'll see 3 dashes. That is the menu. You see a menu that'll have notifications first, and we're doing push notifications to keep you positive, to keep you thinking the right thoughts, to help you to avoid those negative emotions and the thinking traps that you can fall into, to educate you, to help you build on this incredible evidence-based knowledge that we're sharing with you. So do that, and you'll see under that my chat where you can click and you can be part of then communicate with the members of the Power Thinking community. But then you'll see the Power Thinking assessment. And I want you to take that assessment and go through for each of those 7 inner strengths I mentioned: emotion regulation, impulse control, empathy, self-efficacy, optimism, causal analysis, reaching out. You can, within the next 20 minutes of you hearing from me, have the app installed, take advantage of the 30-day trial, and take that assessment. So where are you in each of those strengths that have been proven to help you bounce back from all the negativity that may be happening? You would take, you'd see 8 questions associated with each of those 7 inner strengths. And you respond to them, it'll give you an instant score, whether you are average, above average, or below average in your emotion regulation, in your impulse control, in your empathy, self-efficacy, and so forth. But once you have the app, over the course of days, we're going to micro train you so that um, you're going to learn the skills and practice the skills that help you to move the needle positively on those inner strengths. There's what's called the skill of ABC. There will be avoiding thinking traps, where you're more aware of when you maybe jump into conclusions about something, right? Or you're blaming someone else, or you're minimizing the positive stuff going on in your life, and you're magnifying the negative, or you're mind reading, or you may be overgeneralizing, right? People may overgeneralize. Oh, this is the case of the most recent event, a protester, and they're bad people. So I really want to get rid of them anyway. Uh, Thoughts could be happening. This is a thinking trap that prompts a negative emotion and a negative impulse. And then there's detecting these icebergs. What are these deep rooted beliefs that we have about ourselves, that we have about other people, we have about the world? And many times our thoughts, our emotions, our actions are driven by those deep rooted iceberg beliefs. So those are three skills, and they're awareness skills. This is about making us aware, more aware of those 50,000 thoughts that are racing through our minds every single day, and many times driving, how we respond to life's adversities. And then there are four action skills. So if we have this ability to drill down and find out, identify what are the beliefs that we have about other folks, and about other countries, and people from other countries, and people who speak a different language, and people who look different or have different beliefs. Um, can we, in fact, challenge those beliefs, push back on them? This is the action here. That's the first of the action skills. So challenging beliefs, and then there's putting things in perspective. There's calming and focusing, right? Taking deep breaths and meditation. And then there's real-time resilience. We can get you to real-time resilience. So go to that app store, or click the link associated with the QR code up in the upper left. Go to the Power Thinking Corp app. This is unlike Calm, the Calm app, or the Headspace app, which I think are very, very good. And they're all about, meditation, which deals with just one of our 7 skills. That's the calming and focusing skill. We help you drill down and begin to change things, and change those beliefs, and change, how we respond. We help you with your resilience, giving you the ability to harness this incredible power of your thinking. So I want to thank you for being with us, for our special edition today, which was prompted by an event that happened in Minneapolis on January 24, 2026, on the heels of another incident where someone lost their life. The reality is we can be better. We can do things differently. We can think differently. We can challenge beliefs that are harmful to us and other people. We just have to move as a society, as a world, to the point where we want these skills. We know we need them. Many of us don't really know that we need them. But the fact is that we need them. We need mental wellness. We need to do all of these things. And we now have to develop this want and desire for the skills. They are out there. We can help you with them. We've helped thousands of folks. So certainly feel free to join us every Wednesday. Feel free to share this video with others. And I wish you a tremendous day today and every day, as we make it a win-win for other folks. And remember, since we spend all of our time thinking these 50,000 thoughts a day, we must think with power and utilize